We take you now to Capitol Hill, where Congress is tallying the Electoral College votes.
The electoral vote of the state of Georgia, Donald J. Trump received 16 votes for president, and Michael R. Pence of the state of Indiana received 16 votes for vice president.
Mr. President, I object to the certificate from the state of Georgia on the grounds that the electoral votes were not...
There's no debate, and if there's not signed by a senator, the objection cannot be entertained.
Mr. President, the objection is signed by a member of the House, but not yet by a member of the Senate.
Well, it is over.
Thanks, Joe. That's the smartest thing you've said in 8 years. Vlad has been very bad. A U.S. intel report released Friday directly accused Russian President Vladimir Putin of ordering a campaign to influence the election. Wish they told us Thursday. We could have skipped listening to this.
First, we cannot say they did not change any vote tallies or anything of that sort.
Yeah, I'm just talking.
We have no way of gauging the impact that. Certainly the intelligence community can't gauge the impact it had on choices the electorate made.
What is with this guy over here? It's like he just saw one of my nudes on Snapchat. This is serious crap. He's on TV, too, at the time. Anyway, Friday, President-elect Trump met with the experts to discuss the findings. So what did Russia really do? Well, for one, they hacked John Podesta's email. How did they do it? First, they found one of his passwords. What was one of his passwords? Password. This may be the greatest achievement in espionage history. Right behind the time I pilfered Lou Dobbs's locker combination. I stole his gym shorts. I'm wearing them now. But it makes you wonder how secure Podesta's other sensitive material is. Where does he keep the PIN number of his debit card? Is it written on the back of the card with the words, PIN number for my debit card? Does he hide his apartment key under his welcome mat? Or is it under a flower pot near the front door? Or maybe, get this, it's inside a fake rock. Dude, if it's the only rock on your porch and there are no other rocks around, we know it's not a rock. Anyway, the Russians did other things, too. They got Podesta to click on a corrupt link in a phishing email, which is why I never order Viagra from a doctor who only goes by the name Boris Hardpenis. The conclusions, the Russians hacked, then somehow it got the stuff to Julian Assange. Remember him? Assange, he's pro-Trump, he's blonde. Why isn't he on Outnumbered? I kid the outnumbered people. I love them. Assange, once hated by the right, is now hugged by them. I got to tell you, it's confusing to see righties who wanted to see Assange hang now wanting to hang with him. This shift from a Cold War to a hot romance is so confusing to me. It's like coming home and finding out that dad left mom for her brother. But this isn't what worries me. Forget hacking. That's nothing. Right now, we have no deterrence against those who might want to destroy us. So now, how do we make sure that no one tries to attack our power grid, which would shut down all electricity, food supply, hospitals, bank accounts? You could be broke, sick, and starving in days. America would turn into Lord of the Flies, or worse, Charlotte's Web. A cyber attack is the first really effective neutron bomb, killing all of us, but leaving everything standing. So worrying about phishing now, it's like on September 10th, 2001, fretting about legroom on airliners. You're gonna miss the big picture here. To stop such attacks, we need a real deterrent. My solution? Treat such attacks like military ones. That way, maybe the trigger is never pulled. America needs to announce what we call nukeable offenses. Simply put, you hit our power grid or our banking system, we nuke you. That's the new mutually assured destruction. Prevention through fear. During the Cold War, Russia understood they nuke us, we nuke them. It was mutually assured mayhem, just like marriage. Yes, I know. It was good. All right. Let's welcome tonight's guests. Roll it, please. He's so tough. He cracks walnuts with his eyelids. Recently retired U.S. Army Special Forces member Terry Schappert. Thanks for dressing up. She's so sharp, her thoughts could pierce Don Lemon's ears, or earlobes, rather. Gillian Turner, former National Security Council member and a Fox News contributor. And where he's from, Deliverance is a romantic comedy. A first-time guest, syndicated op-ed columnist Ron Hart. And like Tom Brady's football, she's always deflated. National Review reporter and Fox News contributor Katherine Timpf. All right. Terry, it's been a while. Have you been here since the election?
Actually, right after you brought me on to gloat because I called it a month before.
Yeah,
You're
called.
welcome.
You were one of the few that were saying Trump was going to win and win big. All right, is this a huge victory for Putin? It seems like his goal is to subvert traditional American stuff. Did he win?
First of all, Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Tyrus for bringing him on. And 3, I had a really nice turtleneck, and you told me to wear this out there.
Yeah.
America,
Get to the point.
Okay, to the point. You've said this before, and here, hacking, talking, but here's the thing. Nothing matters unless you have a chainmail fist behind it to back it up. And so I don't even, this but going all, what's going on with the hacking and who did what, it kind of doesn't matter. I agree with you. What matters is if you mess with us, you've got to know.
Right.
And you got to feel it. And so Assange, Putin, I don't even care. By the way, I'm sorry, I don't believe the government anymore either. I just don't believe them. I heard today they were saying that I don't believe them. I don't.
You would rather believe a former KGB dude?
No, I don't believe them either.
Okay.
See, and it doesn't matter.
Believe no one. Believe nothing. Everything's meaningless. In truth, we'll never know.
Oh, my God.
It's all rigged.
It's all rigged. Everything's rigged. You've been watching too much X-Files reruns when you're
I've been
sick.
doing too much thinking independently.
Yes.
Yes, you have.
Stop doing that. This is my show. I want you to agree with me.
That'd be interesting television.
Yeah, it certainly would. All right. Terry, you've answered no questions.
Well, but it is, by the way, what a victory for him. What chaos he's sowing.
Yes, he is. He truly is like one of those Russian bad guys. Jillian, what do you make about my prescription? The idea that we should nuke people who mess with our power grid. Because isn't the power grid just like bombing a country?
Well, the question is, would it or would it not affect Netflix?
Yes, it would.
I think, to me, that's what it breaks down to. But I want to pull out a thread of what Terry mentioned, because this whole conversation, not to be too serious and be a bummer, but
it's what you do.
It's what I do.
Yes.
That's why you pay me so much money, Greg.
Yes. Nothing.
Nothing. But anyway, the whole conversation lately is the tone of the American conversation about the American government is awful. And it makes me really sad because, people will say that I'm an elitist because I was part of the government, right? I worked at the White House. Fine, you can say that if you want. But I think there's nothing glamorous about being like a civil servant and working for the National Security Council and making like $35,000 a year and working 24 hours a day. What I will say is that some of the best and brightest minds that we've got in this country are in the United States government, in our intelligence community. And some of these people put their lives on the line every single day.
So what she's saying, Ron, is basically you get the sense that people that are risking their lives for intelligence are being smeared or badmouthed. Do you find that the case?
It's gotten big. There's 17 agencies now, 850,000 people have security clearance right now. It's gotten too big. It's too unwieldy. Post 9/11, everyone's scared. Everybody builds an agency. No one knows what they do. The Washington Post did a tremendous piece on how big it is, how unaccountable it is, how much redundancy there is. I would encourage you to read it because it's frightening. And who are they responsible to? We don't even know what they do.
I like that you assume I read.
Yeah, I made that assumption one time now.
Yes, exactly. I don't even read what's on the bottles.
I would bookmark a ransom note. I can't read this.
Do you think this is a big deal?
I wonder what the government has worth stealing. You look at Biden. You showed Biden earlier. I love Biden. I bought a reverse mortgage from him or something recently.
It literally was reversed.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I can see him, you know. But no, I just wondered at some point, and Watergate was a great time. The Republicans during Nixon's day broke into the Watergate, stole stuff from the Democrats, and that was a simpler time, back when Democrats had something worth stealing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you get. Podesta's Gmail account, I'm not really sure there's much value there.
You got the greatest recipe, Kat, for risotto. Remember that? That was something that they hacked. Look, now you got
The misspellings bothered me.
You got WikiLeaks threatening to go after everybody with a verified account on Twitter. Did you see that today? How does that make you feel? But feel free to first to defend how wonderful all of this is.
Aren't you glad you're not verified?
I am verified. But what you said, like family, friends, housing. I mean, I kind of offer a lot about my life on Twitter just willingly.
That's true.
Too much just willingly, so that doesn't really bother me.
What bothers you then?
Well, everything bothers me a little, but I mean, it doesn't bother me more than the fact that
in
life
this
is meaningless.
particular segment, in the subject matter that we're focused on, what bothers you?
That does not bother me at all, because I think it's the government without WikiLeaks, without Snowden, without Assange, all these people that you absolutely hate, they would have absolutely nobody to be held accountable to, because no one else is doing it. Somebody's
The
gotta
American
do it.
people.
But
Congress?
Since when did
Congress
America
is the
become an
government.
oppressive regime? WikiLeaks was supposed to target
Since the
oppressive
NSA
regimes.
started spying on us, but it's not supposed to.
Woodward and Bernstein of this election, TMZ, Access Hollywood, the Kremlin,
Yes.
WikiLeaks.
Yes.
Journalism's dead in America, so long live these guys.
Well, to Gillian's point too, I mean, as retired special forces guy, intel kept me alive, or could potentially get me killed. And we also find out that the military and the intelligence apparatus, in many cases in the Middle East, was cooking the books and not telling the right thing of what was going on, all for political reasons. So the problem is all of this is I'm a ground guy. I shoot and I do stuff. And if I'm not getting the right information, I don't believe you anymore. I just don't believe him anymore.
I'm a ground guy, too.
You're a ground guy.
Yeah,
you're about this tall.
Normally in the morning.
It was a short joke. It was a short joke. That's what you get. That's what you get for setting me up for wearing these pajama tops.
Yes.
It's gonna be all night, bro.
Here's my. let me close this segment. I don't care about the hacking and the phishing.
Yeah,
I care about rogue nations attacking us. Once they cut out our power, we're done. And you're really going to see riots and stuff. But the big problem with this is that it's not visually scary to people. Like you can picture planes flying into buildings and terror attacks and bodies and carnage. But when you bring up like a cyber attack, it's something you see on a made-for-TV movie. Nobody really cares until it happens, and I think we have to educate them. And I think this is an opportunity for President Trump, elect Trump, to be a hawk on this, to be a hawk and go after this stuff.
Well, you know what, though, Greg?
You just don't want us defended.
The thing, I do want us defended, but the thing is, the government, their job is, of course, to protect our rights, but they can't do that by violating our rights. Then it's the same problem.
The right is in order to have rights, Kat, you got to protect the country first.
But how far do you take it? Do you want the NSA in your bedroom, sleeping under your bed, making sure there's no terrorists there? I mean, you'd be safer, I guess.
I want the NSA in my bedroom. The more the merrier.
But you're giving up a certain amount of basic freedom, which is exactly what makes this country so great. There have to be limits.
All right.
And if they want to change it, then change the Constitution. It's not me talking, it's the Constitution.
No, that was you talking.
That was you talking.
All right, coming up. A shocking hate crime streamed on Facebook. We'll discuss the disgusting video next. We're a week into 2017, and we may have found the year's most disturbing video. A mentally challenged man kidnapped, tied up, and tortured for hours. Part of it streamed on Facebook Live. On Thursday, Chicago police filed hate crime and aggravated battery charges against 4 black suspects who at one point held the white man at knife point and told him to curse the president-elect. Perhaps even just as troubling, the suspects could be heard on the video saying they wanted it to go viral. It's a horrible crime, made worse by the fact that these fiends posted it on Facebook, assuming apparently that torturing disabled people is a perfectly acceptable behavior. And maybe it was, since as of now, we don't know anyone who called the cops after watching it. It's absolutely disgusting. Hey, Tyrus.
Greg. What's up?
Good to see you. You are about to go wrestle, I assume.
Yeah, I'm at my TNA pay-per-view, but I had to leave to talk about this story because it's so important to me. Thank you for giving me this time.
Well, go for it.
Well, first of all, first and foremost, this is 100% a hate crime. So there's no allegedly. This is a hate crime on so many levels. You take the race thing out, the fact that a special needs man who didn't quite understand what was going on to him was being brutally attacked, and it was, to me, was disgusting. Watching it, I couldn't help it. I got choked up watching it, and I've seen a lot of things in this world, and it was difficult to watch. Another thing that was tough for me in America as a whole was that nobody on Facebook Live that was watching did anything about it. So I think those people are just as responsible. And the other thing is, if somebody puts up a questionable picture on Facebook, it's taken down within minutes. So there has to be some kind of catch-safe or safety zone for Facebook to look at to stop these things from happening. And then the biggest thing to me, the biggest picture, the fake news stories, the hoaxes, the liberal media pushes all these fake attacks. Well, congratulations, guys. Here's the fruits of your labor. Idiots who are using this now as leverage. When they were attacking him, because they dropped an expletive about Donald Trump, suddenly their behavior was justified because supposedly the other side is doing it to them. And that's not an argument at all. It's disgusting. They're not taking any credit for it. Even the news coverage of the story was disgusting. And then finally, the real justice for me is not going to be in court, is when those four get into Gen Pop. So, because prisoners are funny about pedophiles and people who attack special needs. So enjoy what went down, because I hope it happens to you.
Thank you, Tyrus. Pat, do you have something to say that is probably going to shock us, or?
Don't set the bar so high. No, I mean, he's right. It's such a typical talking point to say, well, on the other side, it wasn't covered this way. But I actually looked at headlines of how, if it was some sort of incident that involved, that it was in the name of Trump, how it was covered versus this incident. The Washington Post, when it was someone verbally assaulting somebody in the name of Trump, it mentioned Trump by name, and then this one mentioned it not at all. Huffington Post did the same thing. It mentions Trump by name when it's supposedly an attack in the name of Trump, even when there's not evidence, like Facebook Live.
Right.
Where when the Huffington Post wrote about this, it was nowhere in the headline. The subhead said, we still don't know what happened, and didn't even mention that Trump was mentioned or that anti-Trump things were mentioned until the fourth paragraph. So it's not just this talking point. It really is true. And that's why this kind of stuff, it almost encourages it to an extent. It's somehow okay if you don't want to, you want to ignore the fact that that there are people who are anti-Trump and they're this upset. It should be about this not happening rather than about an agenda. If we cannot all agree when we're seeing a mentally disabled person being beat severely, that it's not about your agenda anymore. Let's tell the story. Let's show what's really happening. Because, sorry, the truth is important.
Yeah. Terry, that's the thing that bugs me, is nobody looks at crimes anymore. They look at what the criminal is thinking rather than
the emotional aspect of it.
Yeah.
Tyrus is awesome. I worry a little bit about the whole idea of a hate crime. It's just a crime. Because when you start getting into the hate crime stuff, you start getting into the emotional interpretation of it. Who's deciding if it's hate? Hey, you had four idiots, and it was racial, and it was hate, but it was a crime, so hammer them for that. I want to hear this hate crime stuff. I start thinking that can be a double-edged blade that can come and get you and do something that is not a hate crime just because at that time, at that moment in society, they don't like it.
What amazed me, Ron, was there were people that were afraid of how to categorize it rather than talk about it on cable news. All the debate was about that, and then you have these people saying, well, maybe it's not that big of a deal because they knew each other.
Yeah, Rahm Emanuel, they dance around.
They hung out.
This is the second beating, and Chicago they had one before, right? Rahm Emanuel, he makes a big proclamation, sanctuary city. 800 people shot. 4,000 people shot, 800 people killed. They want to bring people in from Aleppo, and people in Syria are, being invited to Chicago. They're going, no, we're good.
Yeah.
I think we'll just take our chances here.
Exactly.
And see how it works out.
Yeah, that's true.
Y'all try to get that worked out, and then maybe we'll come.
Yeah, exactly. Gillian, people will at some point will blame backgrounds and broken families, but what about the millions of people who have broken families who don't do this stuff?
Well, that too, but I was just thinking while I was listening to everyone talk that it a little bit mirrors the argument, not the argument, but the kind of dialogue and debate about when we label something that's happened terrorism versus not. People are very, I think human nature makes people very eager to be able to classify or categorize these horrible things that happen in the world, which is fine, that's as it should be. But because I think what happens is once you put a label on something, it makes us erroneously believe that like we get it. You know, it's like, oh, we can probably figure out how to respond to this if we understand first what it is.
Yeah.
And so there is, in a little sense, I push back just a tiny bit in the sense that, and I don't even know what a hate crime means. I couldn't tell you how to define versus a crime.
Are all crimes hate crimes?
Well, I mean, in America, you punish acts. You don't punish thoughts.
Right.
And what hate crime does is it blends the two, and you kind of like, oh, for example, you kind of do it in your head already. For example, if you're reading the New York Post and you read about a 25-year-old guy who mugs an 85-year-old woman, you go, that guy should be fried.
Yeah.
But if you found out that he mugged a 30-year-old man, you just see it as a mugging. So in your own way, you categorize crimes differently, but that's what we do. Judges should just throw the book at everybody.
Right.
Well, but the criminal justice system mirrors that in the sense that the court battles spend epic amounts of time trying to figure out motive, because that will distinguish, you know, like if there's premeditation, it distinguishes like first degree from
but
capital.
it also gives the perpetrators a
know,
platform that they want sometimes to get their message across.
Yeah, that's the
I don't
problem.
think we should do that.
Yeah.
All right, on that note, we got to move on. Up next, a scoop so juicy, you'll need to wear a bib. Well, he can't stop tweeting, and we can't stop talking about the tweeting. It's so good. Can no one beat the power of his tweet? So the new year started with Senate Democratic leader Charles Schumer, whoever that is, saying this.
Making America great again requires more than 140 characters per issue. With all due respect, America cannot afford a Twitter presidency.
Ugh, can't afford you. Go away. Go away. Retire. But Trump's like, challenge accepted, and proceeded to tweet and win. Getting Ford to drop plans to build a plant in Mexico, check. Threatening Toyota with a massive taxes if they build a plant in Mexico, not for that, but he did it, check. Threatening GM with massive taxes if they keep making the Chevy Cruze in Mexico, check. Calling out China for not helping with North Korea, check. Shaming House Republicans so badly they dropped their plan to gut the ethics office, check. Bonus points for taking the glory from House Dems who wanted to be the ones to shame the Republicans. Then just for kicks, pointing out how much better his Apprentice ratings were compared to Arnold's. Check. Then calling Chuck Schumer the head clown. Check. And finally saying Greg Gutfeld Show is the greatest show ever. Man, I love that guy. All right. He didn't really say that. But it is official. Our next president tweets more than Obama golfs. All right. Here's the thing, Terry. We may have the most transparent president ever because he's tweeting his brain. I don't know if we want all of this.
Yeah, it's almost too much information.
Or maybe it's good because maybe he'll get in less trouble if he's constantly tweeting what's on his head. It's like therapy.
I like how a half glass full guy. That's it's funny because Schumer even
I could drown in a half glass.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't gonna do another short joke, bro.
Well, go for it, you weirdo.
No, I'm not gonna do it, weirdo. So you're weirdo.
Just
so you
do
are.
it. Why do I interrupt you?
Did you notice? Yeah, you should because I'll go down that. I'll just be diverted because I have no attention span. Schumer. I think they hate the fact that he's so effective with this because he even says we can't have a 140 character president. He just basically tweeted that.
Yeah, yes.
But it's in front of Congress, which means no one gives a crap and no one's watching.
Yes.
I mean, I agree with you. I feel like Trump's got such a great chance to do great things, and dude, sometimes I just don't want to hear it.
Maybe I mean, you got to take the good with the bad. The good with the bad. You know, Gillian, what if they come up with like a fake Twitter account, like a fake BlackBerry for him, or what? And it goes into this Twitter vault where they all live, and then they go because I don't think he actually reads the tweets.
I don't think he does.
I don't think he does.
You mean like proofreads?
He doesn't go back to Twitter. He doesn't go back to Twitter to see how many likes he gets because he's president. You don't need retweets when you're president.
They'll probably give him like a weekly summary, like here's how you did on Twitter, here's how you did on Facebook.
I
He'll get
disagree. I
stats
think he very
every
much
week.
cares about his follower count.
And he would care about it. I think he does care.
He should, because Katy Perry has more.
But Sean, my favorite thing is that today, Sean Spicer, the new White House soon-to-be press secretary, confirmed to the Journal, the Wall Street Journal, that they don't get to see those tweets before he sends them, and that he doesn't think that's going to change once he's president. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, that's good.
I
you know
kind
what?
of think it's
again,
amazing.
most transparent president ever. But the scary thing is, Ron, China. So China said to him, I guess they said, we don't like him tweeting.
Yeah.
Right.
That's like going to make him tweet more.
Yes. Yeah.
It's reverse. Do you think that was reverse psychology on China on China's part?
Look, it's a brave new world. This is different. He got around the media with this. I mean, FDR had the fireside chats. Things evolved. He's a 70-year-old man on the cutting edge of technology.
Exactly. That's the weirdest thing.
Yeah, it could be weird. You know, the NFL. I mean, they can hack it too. Getting back to the original story. I mean, the NFL, Goodell, the commissioner, got hacked on his Twitter account.
That's a good point.
Said he was dead, and of course we knew he wasn't dead because they would have had a 3-game suspension if anybody killed him. That's what they would have had to do. But it is dangerous, and it is a new world. And 2020, you know, who knows? The election will be, you know, Kanye versus Carrot Top, perhaps.
Yes.
I don't know what it's going to be.
That's a tough call.
Maybe
Because Carrot Top has some good ideas.
Could be Gutfeld.
Yeah.
But he should get Snapchat, and then he doesn't have to keep it to 140 characters. He can, you can do that.
Yeah, you don't want to
It's
start
better,
taking
it's better that he has to do that.
I'm thinking about Carrot Top because you like Trump is the first orange-haired president.
Yes.
Carrot Top
No.
is like it's like he's opened the door for Carrot Top Cat.
No.
Yeah, this is all very. I also don't understand.
You don't even end your sentences
This
anymore.
is going to be very tough for Trump, all this backlash, because I know he loves tweeting, but he also really values the opinions of China and Amy Schumer's uncle when deciding how to run his administration. No, this doesn't matter. I think that Trump should kind of calm down on the tweeting, but I should kind of calm down on the tweeting. I'd love to be able to tweet at China and get them all mad. That gives me a little buzz just to think about.
You do it to China Phillips.
So I most certainly do. I don't know who that is, but I most certainly do understand.
You don't know who
why
China
I wanna do
Phillips
that. No,
is?
I
She's
don't.
like 25.
I don't know. I'm
She
sorry.
can't help it.
I'm sorry. You like my youth.
She's 40 years old.
I met
I'd
her.
rather have my youth than know who China Phillips is. But it doesn't
Did you
matter.
ever see the movie Captain Phillips?
No.
It's his daughter.
No. I don't know.
That's not true.
It's true.
It's true. And
It's true. Captain Phillips was remember the guy who landed the plane on the water?
No, that's Sully.
And by the way, we all bit. No, it's not.
This is the news.
No, this is not
Greg's
the
2
news.
steps. You're China,
This is not
Greg.
the
You're
news.
2
We
steps
all should
ahead.
cut back on tweeting. You know when you got caught smoking cigarettes and your mom and dad made you smoke an entire pack of cigarettes and you never smoked again until you really became an adult? Anyway, that's what you should tweet. You should tweet your heart out, 1,000 tweets in a row, and just get it out, and then you'll be done.
And then put it away.
He'll never be done, and it doesn't matter what anybody says. So keep telling him not to, but he's going to keep on going.
Well, I think you're talking about yourself.
I am also, yes.
Yes, you are.
But your
with the wrong
parents made you
pronoun.
smoke cigarettes?
No, they didn't. No, I just read that somewhere.
Weirdest thing I've ever heard.
That was a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
I think it was.
Babyface Finster.
All right, coming up. The inauguration is 2 weeks away. So who's performing? Personally, I would like to see Mel Torme. But he died. He died in 1999, and we can't have everything, can we?
If you'll be in the New York area and you'd like to be part of our studio audience, email Greg Tix at foxnews.com.
Inauguration Day is less than 2 weeks away. The big question remains, who will be performing? Not me. I sprained my ankle, and also the donkey's sick. So far, it seems that the Mormon Tabernacle Choir will be there. They are my favorite tabernacle choir. Also, Jackie Evancho, a 16-year-old singer and former contestant on America's Got Talent. Her record sales have increased since the announcement, which Trump didn't let go unnoticed, tweeting, again, her album sales have skyrocketed after announcing her inauguration performance. Some people just don't understand the movement. I do. It's why I'm addicted to X-Lax. All right. Finally, the Rockettes will be there. Many of the dancers who I know refused at first, But Madison Square Garden Executive Chairman James Dolan met with him and stressed that performing at any presidential inauguration is an honor. Meanwhile, President Obama showed off his cool kid friends at his White House bash, his final one. Among the guests at the event were Beyonce, Jay-Z, Bruce Springsteen, Paul McCartney, you remember him from Wings, Usher, and Eddie Vedder. Here's Eddie Vedder preparing for the gig.
Oh, God.
He really is an American talent. All right, Terry.
God, that was great, man.
I think my suggestion is a long time ago, we did a segment on the 5 about Super Bowl halftimes, and I said they should have high school marching bands.
Yeah.
They should reverse this whole celebrity thing, make it anti-celebrity. America must be the star, Terry. America.
I couldn't agree more, Greg. Was this a big thing? We're young lads in, like, 70s and 80s. Was who's performing at the inauguration?
Never!
No, I don't even remember that being a thing. So
I think Jimmy Carter had Roy Clark.
Wasn't Janet
I don't know.
Jackson? She
And
had,
not that Roy Clark, just another Roy Clark.
Didn't Janet Jackson have a Stars and Stripes pasty that came off that year?
Super Bowl
That's a
halftime.
Super Bowl. Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
Get it right, Jill.
Sorry.
Which kind of though, this inauguration is a bit of a Super Bowl.
Well,
when you think about it.
mentioned the Super Bowl.
I did know that. She knew the Super Bowl.
All right.
But like it is, it's weird. How is
Is that the one
how is
with
that a thing?
football?
Yes,
It's a
it is.
football.
Okay, kids. Let's stick to the topic here. Ron, all these people showing up for Obama's final thing, it's like a convulsion of the cool kids. They're like, oh, we still matter because they couldn't affect the election. So now they're going to have this big party to say, we don't care that nobody listened to us.
Yeah, it's a weird thing in Hollywood. It's almost a McCarthyism that they have there. I mean, and that informed most of the
Jenny
decisions.
McCarthyism,
Jenny
as I call it.
McCarthyism, exactly. But I thought they were all going to
No,
move.
that's New Year's Eve.
I thought, Clooney and all of them were going to move to Canada or Europe or something like that, But and he gets elected, they change their mind. They realize that, they don't want to learn the metric system. That's what it comes down to. I mean, they hate Trump, but metric system's pretty difficult.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's why it never got caught on over here.
Yeah.
I found that the metric system just made me sound fatter, Kat.
What, is that a question? What am I supposed to do?
You're
with
supposed
that?
to say, you're supposed to do what you always do. Like, that's really interesting, Greg. But
Right.
that's what everybody does on Fox.
I've been doing a lot of heavy
or
lifting.
try this. Say exactly.
Exactly, Greg. The metric system makes me feel very fat.
Building on top of what you just said.
But I don't know, is there anybody who really cares who performs at the inauguration? And is there anybody that really cared that some of these rockettes were like, I'm not going to do it? Well, then fine, don't do it.
Yeah.
Who cares? I'm pretty sure that people have been managing to be the president without a bunch of kicking ladies helping them along the way to get started, and I'm sure he can do it again. So many, they're just desperate for influence.
Right,
it's like when you're a kid and the babysitter gets there and you start screaming. It's like they're the kids that are continuing to scream when the mom's already halfway down the street.
Yeah.
No one can hear you. It doesn't matter. Get over it. Time to grow up.
Maybe the Rockettes wanted to be part of Obama's legacy.
I mean,
I see what you did there.
Sorry. Up next, a story so unbelievable you think Pinocchio wrote it. Which university is offering a program for men to examine their masculinity? Could it be Manitoba, Manhattan, or Manchester? I'm drunk. They've got a plan for man in education and emasculation. The University of Wisconsin-Madison, home of the mighty spinsters, is now offering a program that aims to, quote, explore masculinity and the problems accompanied by simplified definitions of it. Don't know what that means. Dubbed Men's Project, which is also the name of my favorite bar downtown, the dudes only program will apparently encourage beta bros to reflect on how their manliness impact others. Explained organizers, quote, by encouraging that kind of dialogue among a man-identified cohort, the goal is to create a sense of security and vulnerability throughout the 6-week program. In other words, there goes their sex lives. I think we have tape of the first group of men going through the program. I hope I'm doing that when I'm 70. Hey, Ron, what do you make of this? Necessary?
These kids today, college is no longer a value proposition. That's the problem. Things like that, exactly. Emory had a big issue in Atlanta where they got in the fetal position over Trump signs, etc.
Yes.
Emory's a liberal school, costs a lot of money. I don't trust any college that doesn't have a football team.
Yeah, this is gonna Gillian, this is gonna re-elect Donald Trump. I think 2020. If these courses continue, the country will go even further in the direction of screw you weirdos.
I think I'm going to cede all my time on this question back to you, Greg.
Okay.
Because you're so manly.
Oh, I thank you. Did you hear that, Terry?
Yeah, she was.
By the way,
she was doing it to be nice.
By the
Greg.
way, Terry, guy's name.
You know what's funny? I'm sorry, because yeah, first of all, that was touche, well played. But when I was a kid, I did get called, that's a girl's name, and it really bothered me.
I could tell. That's why you became a Green Beret.
I have a different take on this.
Okay, please take it.
The guys who are signing up for this, I'm not so sure they're the good little boys. I think they're predators, too. They are like the men who walk around in Brooklyn with the I am a feminist t-shirt. They're not doing that for women. They're doing that to be all, I'm so sensitive, and get women naked.
No, it's true.
It's all the exact same
The whole
thing.
idea of empowering was for guys to get women into bed by telling them that,
like,
that
you know,
it's empowering.
I examined my masculinity, so, you know, I mean, it's not about anything but trying to be like, well, no, I'm the sensitive one, so yeah, no, go home with me. I'm a good guy. The best way to tell that a guy is not a good guy if he's like, I'm a good guy. That's how you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's true.
So what if a guy comes up to you and says, I'm a bad guy?
Nobody says that.
Some people do that.
If they're just like, hi, I'm Steve. This is stuff I like. You want a drink? That's a normal guy.
Wow. That's sad and strange. I don't know where to go with that.
I got nothing.
You know, Masculinity, if they actually had chapters or segments where they went over the number of men who died building things.
Oh, God.
Like the campuses that they're at were mainly construction workers who were men. Some of them were injured. Some of them died building bridges. And if you look up the Brooklyn Bridge and see how many people died building that, it's all men.
And by the way, you know your society has arrived when this is what you're worried about.
Yeah, that
I mean,
is
think
true.
about it. We can't get any better than this.
Yes, and I can't get any better than this.
No, you can't, Greg.
Men are supposed to be gross.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the
I agree.
only way they're attractive.
Yes. All right, final thoughts coming up next. Now, don't you forget, the great Tucker Carlson moves to 9 p.m. on Monday. You don't want to miss that. He's a lovely man. Also, Saturday, January 28th, join me and Dana Perino and Larry Gatlin for an event called Short Stories by Short People. It's at the Warner Theater in D.C., Washington. You can get your tickets by going to Ticketmaster.com. We're almost out of time, so...
What you've wanted to say all show, but haven't had the chance to say, so here's your chance to say it. Right now.
So I'm going to go to you first, Ron. You know how Ron and I met? I actually accused him of stealing one of my jokes, a joke that he actually came up with first.
Thank you for being the big man.
Yes.
You just took all his time.
No, I told him I was going to bring that up.
Yeah. America, give Trump a chance. All I'm going to say on my little piece here. I know he looks like a lookout for a massage parlor in Staten Island. And you hate him, but this guy's, he needs to go to Washington. He needs to shake things up. Here's a billionaire who made his daughter fly JetBlue coach.
That's great. Yeah.
That's going to scare the bureaucrats. I think that's a good thing. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. I write humor, so it should be a good couple years.
Yeah. Terry?
I just want to wish my cousin Brendan, who's like my brother, get well soon. I love you more than anything. He's the best. That's it.
Very nice.
Yeah,
very
he's
nice.
doing well.
I hope he's doing okay.
He is doing really well.
Okay, excellent.
Yes.
Jillian, how you doing?
I'm good.
Okay, good.
How are you?
I'm fine. Thanks
I
for
didn't
asking.
even get a chance to check in with you.
Well, I
before
try to
the show.
avoid you at all costs.
So, who is this Tucker Carlson? Like, you're all obsessed with him.
He just showed up out of nowhere.
Who is he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's got a bow tie. No, he doesn't have a bow tie. Did you want to just plug anything? Is there anything interesting you want to say? Nah. Okay.
I just want to go home.
That's a train.
How honest can you get?
Awesome.
Oh my goodness. Kat.
Okay, so I like the way that men look in skinny jeans, but I don't like the kind of men that wear skinny jeans.
Very good point.
So I like the pants on the man, but I don't like the men in the pants. And I'm wondering if this is a pants-person dichotomy that's going to keep me single for the rest of my life.
They should talk about it at the thing that we just talked about.
Yeah, that's a great question. Terry, Gillian, Ron, Katherine, Tyrus, studio audience. I'm Greg Gutfeld. Love you, America.